AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD, Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and, of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in today. Well, by the time I get a chance to spend some time with you, and it looks as though an emerging problem is beginning to develop as we have what I have referred to and will continue to refer to as a paradigm shift. Now, it all has to center around this interesting concept of microcurrent that we've launched here a number of weeks ago. We keep on bringing you fantastic guests, no finer than the one we had just the other day with Shannon Goshen. And, of course, Shannon will be a continued participant on this show. But what's emerged is some confusion out there in the marketplace about what is this microcurrent? How do I find that device? How do I know how to shop for that device? What are the questions I need to ask to determine if the device is as it is advertised? And, of course, I'm going to help you sift through that today. The 7 questions you got to ask when trying to locate and determine the microcurrent machine of your choice. And we'll get right down to that right after that first break. So, look, if in the conversation today you want to call in to ask a question and to make a comment, the number, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. How to select a microcurrent device. What questions to ask? I came up with 7. There may be some more, but I think these 7 will get you on your way to making a proper decision for you and your family. We'll be right back on that subject, as I say, right after the first break. Let's take a look at up-and-comings. Now, on Friday, we'll, of course, be back with a Beresha report. We continue to do that on Fridays, and after spending a wonderful time down at the Farm to Table tasting, Dr. Angela Mitsos will be with us on Friday to update us on the Beresha issue. More about Beresha in just a moment. On Saturday, it's the big day for Young Living. It's the big day for essential oils here in Pittsburgh. Susie Weiss is having her annual event out there at the Charrington Plaza in the Moon Township exit off of the Parkway, the old way you used to get to the airport when the airport really was at another place, but at the same place. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Embassy Suites out there is going to be the home, as it was last year, to the Living the Vibrant Life Conference, the Pittsburgh Young Living Conference. It's going to be held there this Saturday, 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Now, if you think you'd like to be a part of it, you want to learn more, there's a couple ways to pull this off. One is if you are not a member of Young Living or of the essential oils movement here, and you'd like to be a part of it, you are absolutely welcome to attend for free. There's no charge for you. Looking forward to being able to see you out there. I intend to be there, by the way, and so I will spend most of the morning out there, as a matter of fact. Of course, we want to invite you out there free of charge. So if you think you'd like to come out there for free and spend the day 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, learn a lot about this whole concept of the essential oils, and in particular the business concept of Young Living, give Susie Weiss a call at 740-632-5159 so that she knows you're coming and has enough chairs put out. Last year's event was packed, right to the gills. 740-632-5159. If you are a member of Young Living, there is a fee for you. You can call and get your tickets, $25 in advance, $35 at the door, by going to eventbrite.com and just by putting in the search engine Pittsburgh Young Living Health, and the ability to purchase the tickets will be right there. That's 9 to 4 o'clock on Saturday. It will be jam-packed with information and a lot of excitement in the room. A lot of vendors. We'll have a table set up there. I'll be able to answer some specific questions you may have about what we do here at our office, if it had anything to do with essential oils or any other thing that we may do. So we'll see you out there. That'll be then on Saturday. Also, too, the December schedule is filling up. We've got the way it shapes up is that the first day of December, Susie Weiss will be back to do her monthly show with us to get ready for an in-office free seminar that will be held on Thursday, December 4th. I'll give you the times on that as I know them. Sometimes Susie comes in the morning, in the afternoon, midday. I don't really know how she's got this set up in her own mind, but we'll find out and let you know. And Dr. Vava Vavoom herself, Dr. Susan Smith-Jones, will be with us on Wednesday. We missed her this particular month. We had a little craziness with the radio station going down, and then it came up, and then I didn't know it came up. And anyway, we let Susan Smith-Jones take a walk without spending the time on the air with us during the last show. She was out walking. She didn't miss her activity at 5 in the morning out there. But she'll be with us in a regular time slot. That'll be Wednesday the 3rd. Then, boy, you don't want to miss a gentleman who you're going to get very comfortable with, who's going to bring a message, especially to those suffering from the terrible disease of Lyme's, as well as many other the autoimmune diseases. You're going to want to learn an awful lot about Ty Vincent, who's going to be my guest. Well, it's a little crazy how we have to do this because Ty's main office is in Wasilla, Alaska, and he has a secondary office on the Kona coast of the big island of Hawaii, okay, and goes to each one of these offices monthly. 2 weeks in Alaska, 2 weeks in Hawaii. Oh, my goodness, how tough is it for him? Anyway, he has done some monumental research that he revealed to us at our Albuquerque conference about 3 or 4 weeks ago, talking about LDA. We've been doing LDA as part of the Butch Schrader entourage since the fall of 2012, but there is a complete new influx of information and the ability for LDA to work so well with autoimmune diseases. And I'll just give you, I believe, what brought the roof down in Albuquerque at the conference, which was this Lyme's disease thing that nobody seems to be able to work with and to correct. This Lyme's disease thing is not infectious. Starts out that way, but it becomes autoimmune, and that's why you can't ever get a resolution to this problem with the standard approaches. They've got every antibiotic known to man used by the conventional medical community. Once it breaks out of that initial mold of being a bacterial infection, never to return to solely that ever again, well, it's at that point that a different paradigm shift has to come into play, and we're going to find out with Ty exactly how that happens. So I'm going to record him off air on Friday the 5th. That's going to be a Friday afternoon, but I'll air the show. You want to circle it. You don't want to miss the 2 shows with Ty. One's going to be on December 8th. We're going to be talking about autologous antigens, which he really perfected the use of. And then the big guy, the big show, going to be the next month in January. I'll record him on the 9th, and then we'll have a good old time here on the 12th of January, 2015, talking about autoimmune disorders and how they're fixable in general, and then specifically how Lyme's disease is fixed in the specific. He's batting average right now, and I don't mind revealing it. He revealed to us 38 out of 40 cases of Lyme's resolved. 38 out of 40. Let me say that one more time. 38 out of 40. Wow. Okay. Beresha. really setting the world on fire around here. Go-to drinks. Everybody that tries them loves them. A coffee, a tea, a lemonade. These drinks do 4 things. You've heard me say it before. If you haven't, you'll definitely want to hear it again. They are thermogenic, meaning because of a green tea extract that's placed in them, this green tea extract allows you to burn fat just for having drank the drink sitting in a chair. And so thermogenicity makes these drinks unique. They are satiety quenching in that your appetite won't nearly be as large as it may have been had you not drank the drinks. And if you do so 30 minutes before a meal, it'll work out quite nicely for you. Now, all the drinks are hypoglycemic, and I think that's a standard in the industry. But then that big one, the one that nobody ever talks about, they blunt the cephalic response, meaning you drink them, and instead of the sweetness provoking the gush of hormones, and the worst hormones in the world when it comes to carbohydrate control and weight gain, insulin is the big one. It blunts the cephalic response. It doesn't happen with these drinks. That's very unique. They're sweet tasting, they're delicious, but no cephalic response. Any other diet drink I know of, first of all, they never talked about this concept. Geez, I wonder why. But not having talked about it sort of means that we do have to talk about it. I always like to reveal how it is that they will be very special to you, Paresha. Now, you can come to one of our other tastings, and they'll be up and coming. We've had so many of them already. Or you can go directly online. Here's what I suggest you do. Go ahead to PittsburghEyeProtocol.com. Now, in a way, it doesn't have a doggone thing to do about the Paresha line, but all my products are that I recommend are found on that website. So go to PittsburghEyeProtocol.com. On the opening page, strike the icon on the top banner that says products, and then the list of all the products I recommend will come up. The very top of the list will be Paresha International. That'll take you to the website. You click on an icon marked Join Here and take it from there. And you'll be able to fill out the little application there, and you can get this stuff online for the same price that I do. So come on into my office. I'll give you samples. You can try them in your own home, or just call up, dial up, and use your computer. Go online and register. There's a $49 fee. That's for 1 full year, but for that fee, you can purchase these things at the same price I get them, Paresha. And by the way, they make a fantastic sweetener that also does not have any chemicals. None of these products, as sweet as they are, contain anything other than everything natural. There's not one chemical substance, not one sugar alcohol. None of the alls are in there. There's nothing pink or blue or yellow in any of these. All natural, coming from monk fruit and pear. I don't know what monk fruit is. Do you? Monk fruit. Must be a pretty powerful substance. All right. Looks like that may round it out for today. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a short break? When we come back, let's set the stage. We've launched a paradigm shift in how to treat your medical problems. It originally was brought to us by Dr. Edward Condra. It's called microcurrent. It is setting my office on its ear in terms of its capabilities, but that's causing problems. People out there trying to sell these devices, you need to know how to filter through this to know if that device is worthwhile for you. Be back in a moment with the 7 questions to ask. You want to write these down. Be right back.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Want to hear today's AM Impact on your health one more time? Or maybe you're looking for one of the many previously aired programs with Dr. Courtney. Here's what you need to do. Go to Dr. Courtney's website, DennisJCourtney.com, then click on to the Radio Archives link on the right-hand side of the page. That's at DennisJCourtney.com. Another service of Dr. Courtney and of AM Impact on your health.
620 HP.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KHV 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Wednesday morning version of the show. Now, we will open it up to you if you want to come on and ask a question at any time. The number to do that, as you should know by now, is to dial us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Can be related to what I'll be talking about, and we'll get into that in just a moment, or it could be whatever you'd like to talk about. Take the time today. It's been a while since we've been able to open them up to you. Once again, that number, 412-825-6262. Now, I didn't realize that it was going to cause problems, but I'm getting a lot of questions here in the office. We're getting a lot of phone calls in the office. There is confusion, I think, we help to stir up out there when it comes to what I believe to be the biggest addition to medical science in a century, okay? And that is the role that microcurrent therapy can play and is now playing in my office, and I believe may end up playing a role in your own life, in your own family's medical life, to make you as optimal as you can be. Now, we've been talking about microcurrent because Dr. Ed Kondrot, a number of years ago now, he didn't invent microcurrent, but Dr. Ed Kondrot actually was the first to apply it to his style of treatment, which was devoted to problems with the eyes. Now, he's been doing a bang-up job ever since he introduced the concept of microcurrent in the treatment of eye diseases some 13 years ago. We've picked up the gauntlet, and since July of 2013, we've been running these 3-day treatment programs with the protocols that Dr. Kondrot has developed using microcurrent therapy devices within the context of that 3-day treatment program, and then sending people on home with their device programmed specifically for them, their eye diseases, as well as other problems. And it has worked out miraculously. You continue to hear me talk about how successful these 3-day programs are. And I got to tell you, in large part, although we do many activities during the 3-day treatment programs, those activities, in terms of how you rank them in importance, the number one activity, the number one therapy, I believe, that yields to the greatest benefits in such a short period of time, 3 days, is the use of the microcurrent device. We've noticed that over and over again. Patients are elated at the end of the 3 days on how much improvement they have in diseases that they have been told by their family doctors, or not family doctors, their ophthalmologist doctors, their specialist eye doctors, that nothing could be done, that unfortunately they would say, apologetically, look, I'm very sorry, ma'am or sir, you have an eye disease like, macular degeneration or glaucoma or diabetic retinopathy. The list goes on and on and on. And when it's a retinal disease, and all those are, there's absolutely nothing that can be done or even offered to stop the progression of the disease, or even more particular and highly irregular, even consider that you could improve and restore vision that's already lost. We've come to expect it. Patients who are involved with our program enjoy those changes, and they begin in 3 days. And I think the microcurrent device it's quite clear, is that component of our program that makes things happen so quickly. We talk about 3 days, that it's almost a miraculous occurrence for them. Now, we have recently been exposed, as early as the first week in October, to other clinicians throughout the country who have been using microcurrent not for eye problems, because their specialties don't lie with the eye, but just for about every other thing other than the eye. And having met them in October in St. Petersburg, Florida, and starting to become very comfortable with their contributions, we now bring you a report each and every month. Shannon Ghostin is our go-to person. She is the most recognized person literally in the country. Even though she's from Jacksonville, Florida, she's very well known in Jacksonville, but she's very well known across the country with microcurrent. Now, the problem has become that you all have listened to me, and you're getting excited about microcurrent therapy. And you are heading to the Internet, as I want you to, and you need to satisfy that thirst for knowledge about it, and you are looking for a way to purchase these devices. So I should have expected it. I'm happy to hear that you're out there checking me out and looking for the device that will best be suited for your needs. But I haven't given you enough information because I didn't envision the problem. I haven't given you enough information to be able to select the device, to know if it meets the needs that you must make certain device can meet in order to allow it to provide you the optimum benefit that you are seeking for whatever medical problem you happen to have. So I sat down last night, this morning, and I just jotted out, I believe, 7 important questions to ask when searching for a microcurrent device to know that it will be able to produce the results that you want it to. And I'll let you ask the questions. I'll let you pose them to whomever you may think that you need to pose them to. And there better be, let's say this much, there better be an answer to all 7 questions, because I feel these are basic questions. And if the person who represents these devices is unable to answer, says, geez, I don't know, let me check. You're allowed to check on it. Don't misunderstand me. Please, go check, but get back. And here are the questions to ask and sort of some advice on how the answers need to be responded to, how the questions need to be responded to with appropriate answers to know that you've selected well. So here it is. Question number 1 of the 7 that I figured out on, how do I select a device? And what questions should I ask? Question number 1. Does the unit in question here produce microcurrent or macrocurrent? Wow, what an important question that is. Microcurrent or macrocurrent? Microcurrent is a measurement of current flow, and the phenomenon is, and the unit of measurement is an ampere. Now, you've heard about amps before. You know that every electrical device that you own in your own home has a certain movement of electrical activity through it, and it is measured in amperes. The microcurrent ampere component, however, is measured in millionths of an ampere. 1 microamp is equal to 1 millionth of an ampere. And it is this level of microcurrent that has the fantastic healing qualities, and only microcurrent at the millionth of an ampere level is able to perform that. You must be certain that the device that you're considering is able to produce microcurrent, not macrocurrent. And the less expensive devices, by the way, there's some 30 and 40-year-old devices. They started out as tens units. They were measured and continues to be measured in milliamperes, which are thousandths of an amp. I mean, that's still a step down, but there's one heck of a difference between a thousandth of an amp and a millionth of an amp. And if these devices are at the thousandth of the amp level instead of the millionth of the amp level, they're way too potent. They're way too jazzed up. They're way too overpowering to the electrical systems of the body, and there will not be a therapeutic benefit. There may be the perception that symptoms are improving, but they are short-lived because as soon as the device is switched off, the interference with the normal flow of activity is ended, and you're back to square one without any correction being made. So you must ask the question, does this unit produce microamps or milliamps? And in terms of the microcurrent, it not only has to be able to produce a millionth of an amp, but it must be at least under 200 microamps to qualify as a microcurrent device. 200 microamps at least. So now you can start asking specific questions. Ask to see product inserts. Ask to get the schematic diagrams and the specific specifications of a device to be able to hit the root cause and the root issue, which is this micro or macro? Is it millionths of an amp or is it thousandths of an amp? And they're as different as night and day. Of course, the real reason for the difference is that the movement of electrical activity through the body that's occurring naturally is moving at the microamp level, not at the milliamp level. And if you want to have a healing benefit, and you want to get things back in harmony, and you want to get things back in sync, then you better be dealing with a similar level of flow as you would expect, not an overpowering amount of electrical activity, because, as I say, it may interfere with symptoms and give the false impression that all is well while you have the device on. But no healing will take place with the milliamp designation as it can take place with the microamps. That's question number one. I hope that first question is one that gets you on your way and that it is answered appropriately by whoever represents the device as certifying that it does produce micro and not macro electrical activity. Question number two. Is the device that you're considering frequency specific? Now, this becomes another important component because all the tissues of the body resonate at a certain frequency. The one thing is the movement of electrical activity, and that's happening at the microamp level. But the other thing is the frequency of the tissues that it moves through, and that's a whole other designation. That happens to be designated in terms of millihertz. And with that, then the devices that are meant to control it need to be able to get to the specific frequencies of the various body parts. If in the device that you may consider, better be able to have all frequencies represented. Because if it doesn't, that means that there's a severe deficiency in the overall utility of this device to handle all diseases and all body parts. And so it better be frequency specific, or it should not, well, at least I don't believe it should be a unit that you would purchase. Question number three. Are all, and here's a point one, are all of the frequencies programmable, or is the device at a preset frequency level? Meaning each and every individual comes to their clinician with a set of medical problems. Once hearing what those problems may be, the clinician, the doctor, if you will, then determines what tissues are involved and what diseases are involved, and then he or she sets out to write the program specific to that individual with the disorders that is determined that they suffer from. And so not only do the devices have to be frequency specific, they need to be programmable to meet whatever specific frequency needs are presented by the patient. So it can't be a device that leaves the factory preset at certain frequencies and you can't change them. No, it must be programmable for each individual patient with the diseases that they bring to the table, and in only so doing are you able to create a program that meets the needs of that particular patient. Question number 4. Are the individuals that sell a device trained in how to program the devices? This is really important because, hey, if the device is able to generate the frequencies that we need, and they are programmable, meaning that the clinician can select whatever frequencies he needs, who in the heck is then going to program it? Somebody has to be trained in the use of that device and how to make the programs you want to have usable within the machine actually capable of being there when you dial them up. So somebody better be trained in how to program that device. And I will say, although there's similarities between all microcurrent devices, each one of these devices is a little different and a little unique with respect to how it gets programmed. It's just the nature of the beast when it comes to any hardware component. The steps that one takes sometimes change. You who work computers know that, and certainly have seen how, although the general system remains the same, the specifics for any operating system with any computer actually may vary and may vary quite a bit. So is there somebody trained in how to do this? Are they on site? And by the way, it doesn't necessarily have to be the doctor himself that is trained to do it, but he better have close contact, literally daily contact, literally moment-to-moment contact with somebody who has that training, or the device will not meet the needs that the patient presents with. Question number 5. Are the programs that are used patient and pathology specific, or does one size try to fit all? Now, this becomes a programming issue that I don't think we've ever talked about before, but we need to mention that when these devices are programmed, they are programmed in what are called frequency pairs. And so, depending on whatever problem the patient presents, there's a tissue that's involved, and there's a pathology involved, and these frequency pairs have to be put together sequentially in some order so that when you're treating the whole individual, every aspect of that disease and those body parts are taken into account. So every tissue of the body resonates at a certain frequency, and a device should be able to be programmable for every single frequency that's found in the body. The other component of the pair is the pathology that's involved. And every single pathology also resonates at a certain frequency. So you see what's happening here is that the programs must be both tissue and pathology specific, able to be programmed in frequency pairs, and a program, let's say, for macular degeneration. A program for macular degeneration, which we've certainly been using for a long time, isn't just one frequency pair. There may be, and quite frequently are, 20 and 30 frequency pairs that go into the writing of one program. So you have to get very specific with the needs of the patient and be all-inclusive when you write the program, and coming up with frequency pairs, one of the pair devoted to the tissue and making the tissue healthy, and the other of the pair devoted to the pathology to end the pathology, not to put it in harmony, not to promote it, but to end it, are the frequency pair combinations that you've got to put together, and a number of frequency pairs. when all added up, will equal one program. Let's say, for example, the macular degeneration program may have 20 or 30 frequency pairs, all programmed by me or Dr. Condrad, specific to the needs of that particular patient. Now, have your doctors been trained in how to program a frequency-specific device? Just adds on to the question, is the device programmable? And then, of course, is the individual who's representing you, the machine to you, able to program the device? And finally, number 7, the cost of the machines, by the way, seem to vary directly in proportion to the number of programs that can be held within that device. For instance, the particular device that we have been using for quite some time now, by the way, the name of the company that we represent is called Inspirastar. It's one of the very few companies that make a device that meets all the specifications that I'm just spelling out for you now, okay, but has a ability to contain 10 separate programs. And that's a nice number. We are happy to have that ability to program for 10 different disorders within one device. Now, in March, Inspirastar will be coming out with their next device, and as you can tell by hearing the next number, it will be able to be programmed for 44 different programs. So we're going to jump from 10 to 44, and I can tell you that with that jump, there's going to be an increase in the cost, probably almost doubling the cost of the machine. But the good news about this is that, and I believe every family should have a microcurrent device that has the ability to meet the needs of every member in the family. And so if you get a family of a mother and father and a number of children, 3 and 4 and 5 kids, each of them having their own medical issues, you don't want to buy multiple devices when one device would work if it's able to have separate programs for everybody in the family. So when we get the device in March that has the ability to be programmed for 44 different programs, there'll be an increase in price in the units, but that will mean that more individuals can utilize the same device, keeping the cost literally down because the whole family can almost be included in on this, whatever disorders either you as parents or the children happen to have. By the time you're done talking about 44 different programs, that covers quite a bit on the board about what might go wrong with every member of the family, and the fact that there's a microcurrent program to correct every one of those, I think, is a comforting bit of knowledge to know about. So, these 7 questions. I will say one thing, that the ability of a machine to get down to the microcurrent level, the millionth of an ampere level, really sets the initial price of any of these devices. And so if you're able to get below this 200 microamp threshold, and how far below it you can get really becomes important. The devices that we use presently, the Inspirastar device that I'm talking to you about, is able to step down the flow of electricity to a level of 20 microamps. 20 microamps. And that's a pretty good step down. When you figure that the body is operating probably at 10 to 12 microamps, that's getting pretty close. And in fact, it's so close that it actually has a harmonious synchronicity, and the body can handle that small amount of electrical activity over and above what it normally runs at. I can tell you, after talking to the people who work at Inspirastar and put these together, I've asked them, hey, can we get this device to go down to 8 and 10 microamps? Because it's 20 now. And is it possible to take it down further? Because I felt, well, that should be what we should be searching for, reaching for. And the answer to the question, I should have realized, would be and was, well, yeah, you can step that down to that level, but the cost of the machine would double. And so we made a decision early on that to keep this within reason, those step-down frequencies of 20 microamps, which are able to perform the functions that are needed, almost negate the need to go all the way down to the 8-amp level, although sometime in the future I do see where that level of stepping down will probably be reached because the price of the machine will not jump to double. And whenever that day arrives, it'll be a great day for all of us, and I'll let you know about it when it happens. But as it stands right now, the use of microcurrent devices, sophisticated microcurrent devices that are able to answer all 7 of these questions, have not gotten to the mass production level where they're that inexpensive that you could take it down to the 8, 9, and 10 microamp level. And those are the questions. No doubt about it. Those are the questions that one needs to ask in order to make a decision about purchasing microcurrent devices. I will obviously tell you, you would expect me to say that I can answer all 7 of those questions with respect to the devices that we use and support here, but I don't know what's out there in the marketplace. And I don't know what you're going to be confronted with. You're the consumer. You need the power to sift through the many claims that may be made and know how to sift through them in order to know what kind of device would be best suited for your needs and your family's needs with the economical status that you find yourself in, so as to make certain that you got to get what you pay for, I think, is maybe a safe way to bring this to a conclusion. So we open them up to you now. You may have questions you want to ask about it, but I felt that there was a real need to have this discussion because, as I already mentioned, we're having our phones ring off the hook from you out there who listen to this station, who know about microcurrent, are fascinated by it, can see that it might play a role in your own family and your own personal needs, but you want to be able to purchase the device that is able to meet those needs. And I think now, with those questions, you are armed to become the better consumer, to make the proper decision for you and your family. And it was it was my pleasure to be able to help you sift through it, as I think I normally do, no matter what the issue is. So, too, should it be the same with microcurrent, and I'm able to entertain questions at any time on the subject. Okay, let's take a short break. And in the interim, we'll let you shift some gears if you got a mind to. You can come on in here at this point and dial us up. 412-825-6262 is the number to get in here. That's 412-825-6262. We will be back in just a moment.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Want to hear today's AM Impact on your health one more time? Or maybe you're looking for one of the many previously aired programs with Dr. Courtney. Here's what you need to do. Go to Dr. Courtney's website, DennisJCourtney.com, then click on to the Radio Archives link on the right-hand side of the page. That's at DennisJCourtney.com. Another service of Dr. Courtney and of AM Impact on your health.
Corny, everybody. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Wednesday morning version of the show. We are opening it up to you right now. You can come on in here. Set the agenda as you see it by dialing us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. We listen for a knock on the door, and we will let you in the store. We got a knock. Come on ahead. Hello and welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Good morning to you.
I got a bunch of questions.
Okay.
Hey, about this milliamp machine you're talking about. You
Microamp.
were saying it's organ specific. Okay, is let's say, for example, I have liver problems. Is my liver frequency the same as yours, and how's that determined?
Yeah. Healthy tissue has a specific frequency that has been predetermined. So we can say that your liver, a healthy liver, has the same frequency as my healthy liver, as the same as anyone else's healthy liver, but that's only unique to the liver. The frequency of the liver is X. By the way, if you give me a moment, I'll actually be able to give you that frequency in megahertz, okay, or millihertz, excuse me. The macula, something I'm really familiar with, the macula of the eye, obviously with the programs that we use and have been using for people with eye diseases, the macula of the eye resonates at 8 megahertz, okay? 8. That's what a healthy macula of the eye should be. Now, we want to encourage that frequency, and it's the same for you, it's the same for me, it's the same for anybody else. So when we're dealing with somebody who has a macular problem or a liver problem or whatever else, one of the two components of a frequency pair is directed to the tissue and allowing it to resonate in harmony with a normal frequency. I often use the explanation of, think of a tuning fork. You know what they tune pianos with? You know, you strike it on a surface and it...
set up a tone, yeah.
Yeah, it comes out and it gives you... Let's say I pick a C tuning fork, I strike it on a desktop, and it's resonating at a C tone. And then if I take another tuning fork, a C tuning fork, strike it on the surface of the desk, and it's resonating at a C frequency. And when I bring them together, if I actually touch the ends of both, what happens is that the frequency amplifies. That it actually, because it is in harmony and because it is in sync, it actually is able to vibrate at a higher frequency or a higher level than if it would have been all by itself. This is how we restore tissue that is unhealthy back to health again. So one of the frequency pairs is always directed to the actual tissue, and it is true that every person has the same frequency given whatever tissue we're talking about. It changes from organ to organ and body part to body part, but one half of the frequency pair is devoted to the resonance of healthy tissue, and the other half, we might as well just get it up on the table, is devoted to the pathology involved. Because every pathology, let's say inflammation, well, inflammation resonates at 40 megahertz. So there's one thing for sure we don't ever want to program into a device, and that is not 40 megahertz. Because if we do that, we actually encourage inflammation to continue. That would be like striking two C tuning forks and amplifying that noise. One thing you don't want to have for the pathology is the same or anywhere near the same frequency, because if you hit a C tuning fork and touch it to a D tuning fork, the sound stops almost in an instant. And that's what we do when we put these frequencies together. Encourage the normal tissue frequency, discourage and remove the pathological frequency, and each pair is devoted to that end. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you test. Let's say, okay, you said my macular is at normal would be at 8. So if I have macular degeneration, is my frequency now 50 or 60?
What it isn't is 8. I don't know what it resonates at, depending on how afflicted you are. But all I know is if I can get the tissue to come back to 8 megahertz, then it will be in harmony and in sync with every healthy macula that that exists out there, and your pathology will be halfway home. Your disease will be halfway home because the tissue is resonating at the right frequency.
So how are you testing for pathology levels to not to set it at that level?
Pardon me?
So you said you also set for pathology.
That's right.
So how are you testing, or are you testing for this pathology level so you don't set the machine at that level?
Well, tell you what, that's where a good history taking comes in. Because how about this? Let's say let's say you have macular degeneration. And the reason that you have it isn't just because it's inflamed. It may be because, now here we go, now the picture starts to get clearer because, okay, so in your particular case, maybe you have mercury toxicity. Well, okay, then we got to program the pathology of mercury toxicity along with the frequency pair for the macula. What if, too, you have a situation where stress, you're under a lot of stress, and so you have sympathetic overactivity, and so we've got to program a third pathology. So you have three things going on. And what about this? Maybe also, too, you were involved in an automobile accident where there was trauma to the neurological processes of the brain, and we need to take that pathology. So each individual patient comes to you with a disease, macular degeneration, but we have to figure out how many different pathologies are at play here, and the programs can get rather extensive, but they're that specific. They're that on point and unique to that particular individual that literally makes it that your program to fix your macular degeneration is not the same as somebody else sitting in the same room with the same problem. Did I explain that well enough?
Yeah, unfortunately you did.
Oh, unfortunately I did.
Yeah. Hey, let's say if a person out there is suffering from peripheral nerve damage or Guillain-Barré or something, would this machine help or exacerbate the pain?
Every single tissue is represented by a frequency, and every single pathology is represented by a frequency. So it's pretty tough to conceive of, I guess, the ones that, and there are even frequencies for this, but the microbial infections, okay? So when microbes are involved, I notice there are not frequency for every possible microbe that I know could attack the human body. There are some frequencies for most of them, and most of those are bacteria, and there's another one for fungi in a general category. But sparing the issue of microbes, which gets to be a pretty long list, I don't really know of any other pathology other than microbial infection that isn't represented by a pathology frequency. And I've already told you, every tissue of the human body is also identifiable and represented by a frequency. So this is how specific it gets, but that's what makes microcurrent such a winner, because you can't name a body part and you can't name a pathological process that cannot be improved. And I mean like immediately. I mean like within the hour. I mean within the week. I've seen some amazing things, and I keep reporting back to the listeners, like when we do a 3-day eye treatment program, and I've lulled you to sleep in thinking, well, that's at Dr. Courtney again, using microcurrent with Dr. Conrad for eye diseases. I'm singing a different tune now. I'm saying, hey, look, the same benefit that I've been getting with eyes is attainable with every other doggone disease going on in just as quick a period of time as the eye disorders were responding before. That's a powerful message. That is a paradigm shift, and we are going to cash in. You as listeners and you as potential patients should be able to benefit from this. You literally, if you're diagnosed right, should be able to treat yourself at home without the need for any drug whatsoever by putting these frequencies in harmony. What a powerful tool. Don't you agree?
Yeah, two final questions. For those of us that have implanted devices, pacemakers, brain stimulators, or I guess even have spinal cord stimulators, would these machines interfere with those?
There is a consideration to block out certain fields that could interfere, but because this is at a recurrent level, okay, let's just say You've seen an EKG display, right? Those little jaggedy lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that isn't happening at a microcurrent level. That's happening at a milliampere level. And so that's a depolarization of a nerve. And those depolarizations, that's some pretty stepped-up power there. That isn't that's not microcurrent. That really is macrocurrent. And it appears as though by using microcurrent, it doesn't really interfere with macrocurrent body phenomenon. Now, you do your best to shield it so that it couldn't possibly interfere anyway, but there is no wholesale contraindication for the use of microcurrent. None. There just has to be some safeguards whenever these devices are known to be implanted already, but no wholesale contraindication. I think that's the way to answer that question.
Okay, how are these microcurrent machines? How are they attached to the body? Are you holding a electrode, or how do you attach?
Yeah, well, there are. You can actually hold them in a hand. Okay, each. What has to happen is a circuit has to be completed. So you have one terminal that's held in the hand, usually by a moistened washcloth over top of the lead, and another held in the other hand, and then the circuit's completed, and the current spreads from one arm all the way through the body, exiting the other arm, and the circuit, now completed, allows the loop to continue. Some people, for instance, with the eye programs, they sit in a lazy boy, their head's back, they put one pad or moistened cloth behind the head and the other one on the forehead. Or people who want to detoxify the liver end up putting one set of terminals in the back, they're lying on it, while they place the other on the abdomen. So you can move them around. It makes intuitive sense that it probably works better directly over an organ when that's possible, but whether or not you're directly over the organ or not, the circuit is moving, the whole circuit is complete, moving throughout the entire body, no matter where you place the leads. Make sense?
Yeah. If a person is having, severe pain where they're on morphine, basically spinal degeneration, would these machines help that?
Now, you're talking when it comes to pain about
deep pain, yeah.
Yeah, the earlier devices, which we referred to as TENS units, and they've been around for 30 and 40 years, and they work extremely well with an intense and intractable pain because the amount of current is so high that it bombards the spinal cord and it interrupts the flow of the pain impulse from wherever it's coming from to ever reaching the brain. And in so doing, you don't have the sensation of pain if the impulse hasn't arrived to tell you that you have pain. Now, the good news is that means current has been used for a long time to treat, but it doesn't fix anything, okay? It just interrupts that pathway so that for the moment, for the hour, for the day, you're able to control, which in many cases was good enough if you're having intractable pain. Microcurrent works as something completely different. Okay? All right, folks. We've come to the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed today. Look forward to seeing you on Friday. So until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD, Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD. 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 MD.